exactly. Well, oh, Jesus. Because you get some wrong. I don't know. Because me, no. Honestly, president. You're going to buy my already? See my already?
Great watch your own time.
I'm putting on a bungalow. Local Lego. Local Lego. Put on a new view. Can you get it? One, get the breakfast over here.
It's okay.
All right, so.
Sit down over here. Sit down over here. Na boa cara. Fala.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me ask all the family members, immediate family members, can you make with us at the back, please? Use that door, please. All immediate family members, can you meet us in the vestry to your right? Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. This time I'm going to ask the congregation to please stand. And I'll take a stand. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there were no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And God himself shall be with them, and shall be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. And there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
We will standing, please take your programs and turn to this first page to the hymn, Great is Thy Faithfulness. If you are a family member, give the time to move, please. If you are a family member and you are not sitting up front, then do so just now. Alright, it seems that all family members are seated where they are supposed to be sitting. Okay, by way of announcement, if you need to use the restroom, it's at the back. You go through that green door, you go down the step and go where you see the rail, you go to that passage and the restroom is there waiting for you. Let me take the opportunity to say, in spite of again of the circumstances, like I said to the family members, pleasant morning. And you may be wondering, how can I say pleasant in such circumstances? Well, I can explain. The Bible tells us that in the presence of the Lord there is, and that there is, right and there are what? And we are in God's presence, amen? In spite of the fact that we have the funeral service, we are in the presence of God. And there is no reason to be in the presence of God on this side. Yes, you have lost a loved one, a father, a brother, an uncle, a cousin, whatever he has been to you, yes, you have lost him. But take comfort in the fact knowing that you may ask the question, does Jesus care when I said goodbye to the dearest on earth to me, and my saddle aches till it nearly breaks? Is it all to him? Does he see it? Take comfort in the response that has been given. Oh yes, he cares. I know he cares. His heart is touched with my grief. So if God is touched with our grief, then we know he cares. Amen? So we know that God is here and he will comfort you. And our hope is that you will find comfort knowing that God will give you the strength to go through as we have been going through from the time of these passing. The program will to a great extent run unannounced. So I am asking that you pay keen attention. And wherever you are stated to do whatever you are asked to do, you take your stance right here when your time comes. And just a reminder, if you feel like crying, feel free to cry. And if you feel that you need to do a little bit more than crying, using the Jamaican parallels, bawl. If you feel like bawl. And if the preacher is preaching and you feel like bawl, make the preacher pause and make you express yourself. Alright? We don't understand how you feel. And I can't stay here to say, hush. We understand. And I we don't know. Alright, so we'll take first item on the program then. Oh, I'm sorry, we did not pray. We chat too much. We just love chats. But let us stand again as we seek the Lord in prayer.
Our loving God and our Father, we thank you, Lord, for your many blessings. We thank you, Lord, for life and all its benefits. Lord, this evening we are here to share in this evening's program, Thanksgiving service. We ask, Heavenly Father, that you will put a special hands around the deceased families. We ask, Lord, that for the rest of us that are here, we pray, Heavenly Father, that we do, Lord, will be able to give words of encouragement. And we pray, Lord, Heavenly Father, that whatever is said and done today, each and every one of us will be benefited from it. And when you shall come, each and every one of us will have a part in your kingdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, let me do a quick roll call so as we to know where we stand. Camelia, are you here? All right, Camelia is here. George Brown, are you here? Yes, I know I saw her somewhere around. Has Shari, are you here? Good. Chris and Stennett, are you here? All right, Chris is here. Timon, are you here? Wonderful. Ainsley, are you here?
I'm here. Yes.
All right. So the program will run in that order, unannounced. All right, so Gamelia, she will be doing the scripture reading, and that will be coming to us from St. John's chapter 14, reading verses 1 through 6. Thank you.
Taken from John 14, verses 1 through to 6. Let not your heart be troubled, ye believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way ye know. So Thomas said unto him, Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know the way? Seek and ask. Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Here is the question of God's word.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm a bit hoarse, so you're not gonna hear me as clear as I was before. But anyway, I'll try to do my best. And my condolences to the family members. I dream of a city called glory, so bright and so fair. When I entered the gates, I cried holy. Jacob and Isaac, Jacob and then I said to him, I want to see Jesus, for he's the one who died for us. Oh, I bow my knees and cry, holy. I cry, oh, thou art holy. I clasp my hands and sang, glory, to the Son of
Good morning, family. The reading of the word today will be coming from 1 Corinthians 15:50-58. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, nor does corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I tell you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible has put on incorruption, and this mortal has put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass that the saying is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is your sting? O Hades, where is your victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is law. But thanks be to God, who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Here now ends the reading of the word of God. Your voice was calm, your heart was kind, and in your quiet ways, you love us all the time. Grandpa, we miss you dearly, but this will always be true. A part of who we are today will always come from you.
Good morning, everyone. I'll be reading The Dash by Ellis. I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on the tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that the first came the date of birth and spoke the following dates with tears. But he said what matters most of all was the dash between those dates. For that dash represents all the time that they spent alive on earth, and now only those who love them know what that little life is worth. For it matters not
how much we own the car, the house, or the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about the long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you'll never know how much time is left that can still be read. So when your eulogy is being read with your life actions to rehash, will you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash?
Good morning, everyone. This is a tribute to our grandfather. Our soft-spoken grandfather was a man whose love was spoken louder than words. To us, grandfather stood for kindness, patience, and quiet strength. He was the one who spoiled and provided for all his grandchildren in such amazing ways. With him, love was never loud. He never yelled, yet we always understood when he meant business. Even when we stepped out of line, he would correct us calmly but firmly. And before long, he would return to spoiling us again. I'm sorry. Grandfather always made sure we had what we need. He was known for slipping money into our hands so we could buy whatever we want or whatever we need. Those moments meant so much to us because that showed us how much he cared. Each grandchild was treated with the same love and attention. He had a special way of making one most special. But, wait, where's Chantal? Can she stand up? Chantal, I'm sorry to tell you, I was his favorite. Some of her sweetest memories were made around the meals he prepped, when he cooked his favorite dishes, turned cornmeal, steamed fish. We enjoyed it so much, not because it tasted good, but because it came from him. No one could make it quite the way grandfather did. And sharing those meals with him made them even more special. He spoiled each and us. He spoiled each and every one of us in his own way. He was gentle and patient, never raising his voice. Yet he taught us from right and wrong, even though some of us still didn't learn from right and wrong. His patience brought comfort, and his love brought joy. Our grandfather showed us the love that does not have to be loud to be strong. His kindness and gentle spirit will stay with us always. Grandfather, thank you for always loving us, caring for us in ways we never forget. You will always live on in our heart. Mom, I know you're watching.
I do so, I just want to say warm heartfelt condolence to family members and friends and well wishers, especially to Maxine and Gregory. Gregory I knew, but I unfortunately I don't know Maxine. But the amount of time I heard her speaking to my wife on phone, it seemed like I knew her. Every day, almost. Maxine. I heard my wife speaking to Maxine. All right, this tribute was written by Ellis as if he wanted to speak to the dead. But I just want to set the parameter right here. It seems as if he wants to speak these words before his father died. And so, I just want for you to understand that. All right? It reads, from your firstborn son, please accept my deepest apologies for not being there in person today. My heart is heavy, knowing I can't make the journey because of my illness. If love alone would carry me, I would be right here to see you off, my dear Daddy. Daddy, he said, I still hold close the memory of seeing you 3 years ago. Katie and I took you out for the day, and the joy on your face said everything. You were so happy to be with us. What stays with me most is the moment you said you didn't want the day to end. I cried again, and even now, that memory brings tears to my eyes. It reminded me just how much our time together meant to you and to me. He said, it should also be known that I am the one who gave you the name David. One of your friends once came to the house, he said, and asked me to call thee. I simply put Daddy and D together. And from that day forward, you became Daddy D to everyone. I smiled knowing a name I spoke as a boy became the name so many came to love you back. He said, thank you, Daddy, for being such a provider. I don't know if it was because I am your first son, but you always showed a special interest in my well-being. Even when I got myself in trouble, last time I told Mommy, you were talking with another woman, and you called me your informer. You still love me and stood by me in everything I did. That was your way, firm but full of love. He said, I will never forget the day the lady came for me for the furniture. You promised her. You told me to tell her you were not home. I went right out and faithfully said, Daddy said to tell you it is not here. Look, you gave me that day. You just shook your head, lit your cigarette, and said, my firstborn is an idiot. I didn't understand then. I was only doing exactly what you told me. Today, I laugh through my tears at that memory, because it was one of those memories that was purely us. closing, he said, my heart aches when I cannot be there to say goodbye in person. But please know this, that we cannot hear. You will always live in my heart. Distance and sickness may keep me away physically, but nothing can separate the love I carry for you. I thank God for the years He gave you to us. Sleep on, my Father, your firstborn will always love you.
All right. I am not sure if I would call Ilse an idiot, but this name will better still. But the living father said, tell her, I tell him, say, in the wrong. No, sir. In the wrong. So you know what that tell me? But that tell me, he said, when we tell them, we tell them we are the idiots. Which are we are teaching them around, don't they? Yes, so we are the idiots, so, and he might not be the idiot. Yeah. The boy just went tell him to do. But just give me a minute, please. And let me backtrack. And let me use the language of the street a little bit. Because I'm a churchman, but I know a little of the street language. So, big man thing. Yeah, big man thing. Or big woman thing, I don't know what I say. Big and serious. Going back to, was it Crystal? Yes. The dash. Seriously. You know said about how we live? Oh, you're quiet. It matters how we live. It matters how we spend our life, our time, the dash. Yes, it's good to achieve. Yes, man, that's how we work. We work because we want to earn money, and there's the money that depends against privation and wants. But you have seen persons with money, so they take the money to figure along like them phone number. They can't call it figure. And they're still miserable. And I've seen persons who, in our estimation, also my papa, and them happy. Contented. When you live your life, when we live our life, because it is inclusive, so I'm not going to say no, I say when we live our lives, pleasing, it makes a difference. So that makes sense like I live, I will go scrape up all of this world of the hopper. And then when you reach the position where they reach, when people come out and talk about, and they say, that, they should have had a long time. Yeah, I mean, some people say that, but it makes them feel good, don't it? So there's a song that says, if I could help somebody, then my living will not be in vain. Helping somebody is good, but making Christ your friend is even better. So thank you, Crystal, and the others. So my takeaway, make sure that we spend the one dash the way it ought to be spent wisely. Anything short of that would have been wasted years. So take it from Crystal and take it from me. So when you come alive, a deep in our round, we keep saying alive. Sorry. When you come a deep in our round and Crystal tell me, because she tell me too. Be careful how we spend our dash. So we learn that lesson from now. Be mindful how we spend our dash. It's important. Thank you for your patience now. Go ahead.
And thank you, sir. Tribute to my hero from Maxine Ellis McCrae. Some called him Bird, some called him Bud, some called him Dean, some knew him as Mr. Ellis. others called him Grandpa. Most knew him as Daddy D, but I called him my hero. I may sound a little selfish right now, so please bear with me. I really just want you all to know and understand how this man loved, cherished, provided, and protected me ever since I was born. As a little girl, Daddy D believed I could do no wrong as I was perfect in his eyes. Now let me be honest, I did wrong. I would backtalk my mother, and after that would come what? The belt. But somehow, Daddy D would always come to my rescue. He would take the belt and tell my mother that she was being too hard on me. And he would be so upset because who dare to punish his princess? One day, Omar and I were fighting, and my father stepped in, but Omar simply lifted him up and put him to sit on the bed and said, "Daddy, relax yourself." It was a serious situation then, but it was really, really funny at the same time. Nevertheless, he demonstrated that he was still my hero. I remembered Mommy giving me lunch money for school, but every morning I would stop by Daddy D's workshop and say, "I'm going to school now, Daddy D." And without hesitation, he would reach into his pocket and give me extra money. This became an everyday routine. This continued until one day I overheard Daddy D saying to Mommy, "Imagine, I give you money for all the children, but you refuse to give Maxine lunch money? Why?" Mommy then called me in and told me to tell my father how much money she gave me each day. So I told him, but I lied. I said, "I needed extra money to buy a book. That's why I asked him for more." However, he looked through my lies and said, "I'm very disappointed with you." And that hurt. That really hurt. And I felt bad. How could I lie to my hero? But nevertheless, that Monday morning, I still went to his workshop and said, "Daddy, I'm going to school now. I just came to say goodbye." That's all I said, I swear. I didn't say anything else. I didn't need to. But he still reached into his pocket and gave me money. I didn't ask. I really didn't. But a player knows a player. That was Daddy D, my hero. My father was an exceptional provider. But more than that, he was a listener. I once told him that I wanted to attend business college, but needed a typewriter. And 2 months after casually mentioning it, I received an electric typewriter. Who knows electric typewriter back in those days? Before the computers and everything. Yes, the electric typewriter. 2 months after, he ordered one for me from a friend in the States. He was content to let me shine. He didn't just listen, he moved. He even went further and paid for all of my CXC exams. Daddy D, I would be nothing without you. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I got it all here in my heart. Daddy D, you were the wind beneath my wings. Now you understand why he is and was my hero. There's no hiding the truth. Daddy D loved his alcohol, and yes, he loved his Caribbean cigarette, but he also loved his turn-on meal, cooked in coconut milk and steamed down with steamed fish. I remember him saying, "Chun, where's the one coconut there for me? The people some flour," and he would cook it himself as he was the best at it. Daddy D was imperfect, but he was protected. He knew that I loved to copy and imitate him with certain things, like biting the Scotch bonnet pepper whenever I was eating, and he would always say to me to stop doing it, but I continued. One of the other things was that one day I was cleaning out his ashtray. I picked up one of the cigarette butts and placed it in my mouth, pretending to smoke. And out of nowhere, my father rushed over, took it from my hand and said, "A smoke you want me? Don't you ever do that again." There goes my hero. If he hadn't stopped me in that moment, who knows, maybe, just maybe, I would have gone down a different path. And so even in his own habits, he protected me from making those choices. Daddy D, he loved courting my husband as if he was one of his own son. And on my wedding day, he pulled me aside and said, "Maxine, be the best wife you can be, because a man like Courtney is rare to find." Daddy D, you were absolutely right. He is a keeper. He's still treating me like the queen that I am. Did you by any chance threaten him? My father, he protected me. He provided for me. He believed in me, sometimes more than I believed in myself. And though many knew him by many names, he will always be my hero. I know I gave you roses while you were alive. I told you how much you meant to me, but it still hurts. It hurts deeply knowing that you are gone. I will miss our FaceTime calls. I will miss you trying to tell me you loved me, and then both of us ended up in tears before we could even finish the sentence. That was our thing. As long as I live, Daddy, I will carry you in my heart. And no matter how many years may pass, the memories and bond that we share will always be treasured. Even though you're gone, I will still see you when I look at William, baby Mikey, Auntie Hope, Auntie Patsy, and Uncle Calvin. Seeing them reminds me that a part of you is still with us, and that makes it impossible to forget you. So, my hero, fly, fly, fly away, my hero. Fly away the wind beneath my wings. Thank you. I thank you. I thank God that you are, you were, and you will be the wind beneath my wings from Maxine, your pumpkin.
Wow. Well read, well put together. Yeah, man, well said. I was born and bred in Watermount. So, everybody from Watermount know me. On paper, my name is Selby Maxwell. But on the street, my name is, there are how many? What my name? What my nickname? No, sir, not that. The next one. You don't go from Watermount. Don't call me. That's what they call me. You know why? Maybe have something in common. Yeah. And even when she was talking about turn car, baby, mouth star run water. Me love it. Some people just sing and call it turn car meal. Not no wrong, but it don't make it to mess with no for a long time. So no can't call me stuff because it's just a singing. But thank you from Maxine. Thank you. You must come too long now. I want you to look for me also. What are you, sister? What are you doing? Can you see me? Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. What does that tell you? You are? Yes. We're not dead. I want somebody that has seen it. We are alive. You may not have eaten this morning before you come. Or you may have eaten. But we are alive. So guess what? I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day of my life, I am blessed. I am blessed for when I wake up in the morning. I am blessed. I am blessed. Hold on. Whoever you are with one mosquito. One mosquito. One mosquito make a difference, don't it? And you want now one mosquito sing a ladies and your box when you sing a hear you. And crying. One mosquito. And look how much you own you in here. And you own your seat. Oh, you can't go down that man. I'm so happy to be alive. And you're happy for the blessing that God has given to us? Well, alright, me and my son are going to use it. So sing them here now. Precious name, standing there. Amen. And guess what? I checked a while ago. And guess what I found out? Guess what I found out?
Hallelujah.
Not the wrong say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yes, it's still right. Hallelujah still happen. And when I think of the goodness of Jesus, we have to say thank you, Jesus. Yes, God is worthy to be praised. I celebrated my 60th birthday last year sometime. So we're 60, no, we're 61 yet. And guess what? First, we just realize today, the 15th of March, marks 1 year since I did a major surgery. But this Saturday night, when I was going to do the surgery, the doctor looked at me and said, and she gave me everything that the possibilities, and then she said, one final thing, Mr. Maxwell. And I said to her, tell me, man, why don't you run me? And she said, you might not come out of this surgery. So we said, what do you mean? Talk to me straight, man, don't go no corners. And everybody get it now. And she said, it's possible that you die, you can die. And we said, hey, none of that. Yes, I said, doctor, we don't afraid of death. We don't afraid of death, man. And she said, one day, just come with me and we're going to make that. We said, we don't afraid of death. So if I put them in last, thank God this is almost 60 years. And put them 1 year since we come out. So I can't help but be excited. I have to be thankful. Yes. And no one will long mess up. A lot of you down there. No, sir. We can't talk English. We have to talk part to be excited. And no one will long mess up about you whole of trials and hard hardship. And we bounce back and there for today, don't we? So give God an amen. Yes. Yes, man. God is worthy to be praised. Hallelujah, you take something like dumpling and a brush bone. And we come and cool it, we come and celebrate and we school. Give God praise because He's worthy to be praised. Only He can give God praise. Right then. The Bible says they didn't know that they shall die, but they didn't know nothing. So since you are alive, brethren, don't fall short to give God the glory because He's worthy of our praise. You know, see, we are just fall. Show us a blessing. Don't fall short, man. Give God the glory. He's worthy. You know, this young lady is giving patience. And I named the paper 2 times. So we just ask her already, you can't sing good. Because I'm 2 times, I named the plan, you know. So she will sing 1 now by herself, then somebody else will come, and then she and another person will sing another one. So you see, she don't sing good, she'll not do the second one. Sing, sister, sing.
This song is dedicated to, I'm singing this on behalf of Maxine Ellis, her dad. This is leading her this morning. For all those times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made me see, for all the joy you brought to my life, for all the wrongs that you made right, for every dream you made come true, for all the love I found in you, I'll be forever thankful, Daddy. You're the one who held me up, never lets me fall. You're lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe I'm everything I am because you love me. You gave me wings and made me fly. You touched my hand, I could touch the sky. I lost my faith, you gave it back to me. You said the star was out of reach. You stood by me and I stood tall. I had your love, I had it all. I'm grateful they gave me. Yeah, I don't know that much, but I know this much is true. I was blessed because I was loved by you. You were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. You saw the best there was in me. Lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe I'm everything I am because you love me. You were always there for me, the tender wind that carried me. Light in the dark, shining your love into my life. You've been my inspiration through the lies you were the truth. My world is forever blessed because of you. You were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. You saw the best there was in me. Lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith 'cause you believe I'm everything I am because you love me. I'm everything I am because you love me.
Don't. You sound good. What just say? She sound good. Yeah, man, let's go for it. So she can be second round. Alright, this one. You know, some people think everybody at Jamaica dishonest. People think everybody at Jamaica is dishonest. We are honest people at Jamaica. One line them at you. Alright, there's some money. I'm going to tell you how much. Search yourself. And if you lose the money, come to me. But you have to tell me how much first. I'm more than $1,000. I'm more than $2,000. I'm more than $3,000, but we don't have to get the final amount. So if you lose the money, come to me, me have a seat here. If you don't lose it, if you don't come to it, you don't go to the happy plate. Is that okay? Yeah. But before we put it in there, make sure you search yourself. If you lose your money, if you lose $100, we pay it. So if you lose the amount of money, anybody asks if they're rich, how money to them and dash to your church? Okay. Alright. See me when you find us and you lose it. And thank you, Don. Who is Nikisha? Nikisha. Oh, what Nikisha? Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone.
in many ways he helped guide and look out for the rest of us. Growing up together, we shared many memories, some serious, some funny, and some that we will carry with us for the rest of our lives. One thing we can all agree on is that our brother had a very kind and loving heart. If we ever did something good or wrong as children, he would not shout at us. Instead, he would calmly talk to us and guide us. That was just the kind of person he was. After he left school, he went and learned the trade of furniture making. He worked hard at it and became very skilled with his hands. Later on, when his brothers became old enough to learn a trade, he taught them what he knew. He was also willing to share his knowledge and help others grow. Our brother was a quiet man, but he showed his love in many ways. One thing that many of us will always remember is that he had a special nickname for everyone. He called his nieces, sisters, and even his granddaughters Punky. Hearing him call the name always made them smile. Always made us smile. Whenever he came home on weekends from learning trade, we would all look forward to seeing him. As those visits meant a lot to us because he always brought warmth, laughter, and a sense of togetherness. One of his sisters, Patsy, shared a memory that always makes her smile. She remembered how he would sometimes take her to school on Monday mornings on the back of his under 50 bike, while he was on his way to Ducky's to visit his girl. At that time, he was the first person in the community to own an under 50 bike. Riding on the back of that bike was something special, and those moments are memories that will always stay with her forever. Another story shared by one of his brothers, Devon, shows the kind of man he was. Many days at their workshop, while everyone was busy working, he would take the time out to prepare boiled breadfruit and with natural coconut and no meat, so they could sit down and eat and have fun. It was simple, but it showed how thoughtful and caring he was towards the people around him. He also loved preparing simple meals. We enjoyed when he would turn cornmeal with susumbo, or when he would cut up cabbage with pick-up saltfish, pour hot coconut oil all over it, shake it up, and then we would enjoy it with bread. He also loved frying fritters, and he was also the best breadfruit cooker. Those were simple meals, but they were filled with love and laughter, and it tastes delicious. Our brother also liked to look good. He was always sharp in his attire. Whether he was going out or just passing through, he made sure he was dressed well. That was just a part of who he was. And when we speak about him, without mentioning that he enjoyed life, he loved his rum and he loved good company. Many of us remember the days he would sit with family and friends sharing a drink, telling stories, laughing together. He also loved music and was a very good dancer. Whenever music was playing, he knew how to enjoy himself and bring life to the moment. And yes, our brother had a great love for women. He appreciated their company and always had a way of making people smile. That was just part of his lively and warm personality. One thing about him that always made us smile was when he said he was going to do a quick job. We all knew that quick might take a little longer than expected, but by the time he finished, everything would be done right. And afterward, he would sit down, relax, maybe have a little rum, and share a laugh. That was the kind of man he was, hard-working, kind, loving, and someone who truly enjoyed life and people around him. Today we are saddened by his passing, but we are grateful that we had him in our lives. The memories we share with him will stay with us forever. The Bible reminds us in Psalms 34 verse 18, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit. And also in John 14 verses 27, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. These words remind us that even in our sadness, God is near to comfort us. Our brother may no longer walk beside us, but the love he gave us and the memories we shared will live on in our hearts. We love you, our dear brother. Thank you for the memories, the laughter, and the love you gave us. Walk good, my brother. Sleep in peace until we meet again.
All right, big man thing again. And serious because we talk out a lot, but we have to get serious now. Going back to the dash. You see, put us spend with dash to meet God's approval. Something wrong, and something wrong. You know, it kind of came me heart away because me I look on the program and me realize that the was given to us for approximately 77, maybe couple of weeks or month, short of 78 years. We don't do the calculation, we're not so bright. But that's somewhere happening there so. And me I listen to the talking. Loving Tom Camille, in loving cigarette, in loving rum, and in trouble number one too. I mean, you hear nobody say the God church. You know, you hear nobody say the talk about God. So where was God in his life? It bother me. But he can't change against some people talk away who are alive. Make we spend with that doing God. You so no quiet. No quiet man, and that's no one here. You know want some people to laugh, but big and serious man. Make we spend with dash serving God. It makes sense. Some agree. Some agree. So, we are going to make that rest of our voice take with it. Relax this now. Now make the rest of your voice, because you're saying good. So, it's not on your paper, but it is on mine. And no people come and deep in there that may say, well, I don't know him, I don't know him, or I was acquainted with him. So we are going to give somebody 2 minutes. That's so enough. A minute and a half. If you feel like you want to get up and come, you want to tribute, may I get a chance to do it now. Going once. You know the? She look young, don't it? Yeah, like a granddaughter. So you have to go well? Alright. I'm glad you come. Say something now. Look at that.
Good morning. My name is Lucy. Maxine, husband is my brother. Knowing that nobody speak about him in church, yes, we all know that he did not go to church. But something like this, a pulpit, he made for our church, 25 unions. Yes, so I know all about Daddy D. Apart from that, Daddy D is a loving person. They speak about Daddy D, love woman. The last time I went to look for Daddy D, as knowing that I would be a daughter to Daddy D, I started to dance with him. My auntie Audrey did come up here and she thought, she didn't know that the last time we went and looked for Daddy D before he went to the home, we would dance with him, sitting in the chair. But Daddy D is a loving person. He cares for us. He shares with us. And we all miss him. But the one thing, he's sorry he did not give his life to Christ. So we just continue to pray our strength, knowing that all of us is going to look at this life and look at the dash in our life. And if we are not a Christian, we don't end up without God. So this is my few words.
All protocols observed. Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. I'm here and I hear Brother Maxwell saying that enough watermelon people there, enough people there from Evangelist. Not true? Amen. He originated from Mendes, you know, and this afternoon, I just want to say on behalf of, even those who are not here, on behalf of the Mendes community, you know, we want to extend our condolences to the family. And I want you all to know that we know that this is not a very good time as it is. You know, these times, you know, we're troubled, we're fearful, you know, we feel down. But in all of that, we know that our God cares and He will take care of you. So be not dismayed at this time. We know that God is going to take care of you. And I just want to do one verse of that same song. Be not dismayed, what ye rejoice, God will take care of you. Beneath His wings of love abide, God will take care of you. God will take care of you through every day or all the way. He will take care of you. God will take care of you.
Don, where is Wright? Okay. Oh, that was good. Because of your love, I am free. What if you were charged, we were charged to say amen in church? How dead would church be? What if we were charged to smile? What a dull society we would have. But God, in His infinite mercy and wisdom, did it all. So we can smile without being charged. We can lift our hands without being charged. And we can shout amen without being charged. Thank you, Jesus. We can call on His name and not be charged. Thank you, Jesus. Because of His love, I'm free. I'm free. We are going to be lifting an offering. So, the deacons will. Deacons, where are you? Yes? The deacons will be waiting on us as we give that which the Lord has blessed us with. So before it is being collected, I invite us to stand as we give God thanks. Shall we pray? Sovereign Lord, you have blessed us with health and strength. You have provided for us work in order to achieve. And from our achievement, Lord, we, with gladsome mind, give back to your cause. We ask that your blessings will be on that which will be given. And every hand that stretched forth to give, We pray, Lord, that those individuals will also give up themselves wholeheartedly to you. May that which will be collected be used wisely to enhance your cause. So blessed be us through the worthy name of Christ. Amen. And we're going to be singing to the tune of the upper wonder of the Lord my shepherd, I am not one.
The Lord my shepherd, I am not one. He makes me lie to lie. In pastures green, he leadeth me, the quiet waters find. He lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer, yes, he lives. He lives within my heart. My soul in God restore again, and into water babe. Within the bounds of righteousness, and for his own sake. He lives, he lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer, yes, he lives. He lives within my heart. Yet though I walk in death's dark lane, yet will I fear no evil. For the one with me and I run, and serve me comforts here. He lives, he lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer, yes, he lives. He lives within my heart. My neighbor thou was furnished in presence of my foe. My head undone with oil unknown, and my cup overflow. He lives, he lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer, yes, he lives. He lives within my heart. Goodness and mercy all my life shall surely follow me, and in God's house forevermore my dwelling place shall be. He lives, he lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer, yes, he lives. He lives within my heart. He lives, he lives, he lives. I know that my Redeemer, yes, he lives. He lives within my heart.
And thank you so much for your liberality. If you look at the front of your program, officiating, you will see Pastor Sean Wilson. Pastor Sean Wilson is unavoidable. I've said this afternoon. But when it comes to church, you always find able and capable persons who can stand and withstand in the gap. So pastors are here, but standing, who will be standing in this afternoon is a little big man. And he goes by the name Paul Newton. And Newton is a famous name. Paul Newton, powerful man. And he will be declaring to us that which the Lord has laid on his heart. I pray for him your undivided attention as he brings words of hope and comfort to the hearts of every one of us. Before he comes, Charmaine Lennon will be giving us an item in song. After she is through, the next voice will be that of Evangelist Paul Newton. Thank you.
Made my way through some valleys and deserts, believing I'd never get lost. I stood at the foot of what felt like Mount Everest, knowing I have the strength for the climb. It's true, every trial, each test and temptation, there's one thing that is sure every time. Over and over, again and again, God is faithful. Over and over, again and again, through it all, He's made me able to stand and survive, to come through my life when it sure looked like I could win. Jesus is with me, so I claim the victory over and over again. If you ask me why, I have no hesitation. God does what He says He will do. I simply say every battle has taught me there's nothing He won't help me through. So why should I dwell on the hardships and struggles when I look just beyond them? I see the way this will end is with great celebration, and keeping my heart I believe. Over and over, again and again, God is faithful. Over and over, again and again, through it all, He's made me able to stand and survive, to come through a life when it sure looked like I could win. Jesus is with me, so I claim the victory over and over again. To stand and survive, to come through a life when it sure looked like I could win. Jesus is with me, so I claim the victory over and over, over and over, over and over
And I do believe it is still legal to say amen. And there's absolutely no tax in saying praise the Lord. And you cannot be deported by saying hallelujah. Because God is a good God. And He deserves our highest praise. Amen. Thank you very much, Sister Lennon and Sister Anderson, for reminding us that over and over and over again, God indeed is faithful. Thank you very much, Elder Maxwell. And one other thing I notice about those who have sinned and come tall, they always like to highlight the shorter sinners, not knowing that the more you grow in sin, the taller you might become. But he's my good friend. Amen. We, as a church, we sympathize with the family of Sir Lambert. Just to let you know, we are praying for you. And I am not one who believes I am the best to comfort someone mourning. I'm not the best. Because I usually get mixed up with words. Neither will I say to you, we understand what you're going through. Because the truth is, we don't know. We don't. And even if we would have buried a loved one recently, each man's pain is completely different. But there's one who I know fully understand what you're going through. And that person is Jesus. When you don't see the elders or the pastor or a friend, just remember, Jesus is always there with you. Amen? So I won't be long. I won't be long. We're having rain. And I want you to be able to do what you have to do without getting wet. So just bow your heads with me as we pray. Father, we ask for the leading and the working of your Holy Spirit. Draw divinely close to us in this place. Let self be crucified and Christ alone be glorified. For Christ's sake we pray. Amen. Amen. My throat was well up until now. Just pray that I will be able to get through. Amen. Now, the Apostle Paul gives us some sobering words that we all need to meditate on. 1 Corinthians 15. And we're going to be looking at from verse 12. And I will tell you when we stop. I know it is not your custom to walk with your Bible to funeral, but I believe we all have our phone. And I think that if your phone is that smart, it should have a Bible. Amen? Amen. Verse 12 said, now if Christ be preached that he rose from the dead, ought some say among you that there is no resurrection of the dead. But if there be no resurrection of the dead, then Christ is not risen. And if Christ be not risen, then is our preaching vain, and your faith is also vain. Yea, and we are found false witnesses of God, because we have testified of God that He raised up Christ, who He raised up. If so be that the dead raised up,
God gone to bed.
for if the dead raised up, is not Christ raised. And Christ is not raised. Faith is raised. We are raised. If in this life only we have hope in Christ, we are of all men most miserable. There's a whole lot we can accomplish in this life. And some of them, nothing is wrong with. We all have dreams. And as children, most of us dream of becoming the next fireman, the next policeman, the next pilot, the next banker, the next board, the next Shelley Fraser, the next Muhammad Ali, the next Andrew Holness, and the list goes on. But how do you ask a youngster, what do you want to be? And they say to you, I want to become the next Christian. Are you? Paul lists a number of things. One, if we preach about a Christ that is in the grave, then we are false witnesses. If Christ is still in the grave, there is no hope for humanity. If Christ is still in the grave, your tomorrow will be worse than your today. If Christ is still in the grave, then might as well we all become gamblers and drunkards. Because there is absolutely no hope. If Christ is still in the grave, it makes no sense we pray. It makes absolutely no sense we have a church or we preach. Because the difference between us and the world is we have a hope in a resurrected Christ. And because of that hope, because of the certainty and the assurance we have in Christ, we live our life not focusing everything on this world. Why? We know there is a better tomorrow. We know better days are coming. We know the suffering of this life will be over. We know that joy will come at last. We know that if we walk in Christ, if we live in Christ, and if we stay So Paul, take us where you want to take us. If in this life only we have hope. We were told about the dash. And most persons who go to a funeral and take a program, it is to see the little slat that says from sunrise to sunset. And if you're like me, when you get home, you're still trying to figure out how old the person is. That dash, whether it is long or it is short, is the only time allotted to man to get it right. You're not with me today. It is the only time for us to do all the evil we can, to do all the good we can. Before that, we weren't existing. And after the sun set for us, there is absolutely no hope. When we breathe the last breath, that chapter of our life comes to a close. But the reality is, even though that chapter closes, the Bible said it is appointed unto man once to die, but after death comes the judgment. The time to see God is now. The time not just to merely acquaint ourselves with Him, but to know Him personally is now. The moment we have to praise Him is now, not tomorrow. The psalmist said, there is no praise in the grave where we are going. That is why it is clear, let everything that hath breath praise ye the Lord. There are many of us, last year, September, our hope disappeared. Because we're expecting something different. There are many of us, last year, January, your hope disappeared. But because you didn't want a Donald Trump in the White House, a news came January of this year that those who are on filing might not get through because of what is happening. There are many of us who remember the horrible days of FINSA. Don't you? I'm sure there are persons here older than I am. And I remember FINSA. There are many who remember when that financial scheme crashed. There are many who are here who lost your job, who are disappointed because of family members. There are many who are here who would have invested in that young man and believe that today he would be in your arms or you would be in his arms. There are many who your hopes was to be with that young lady. You have all the dreams that she would be yours. But it's a different story today. So watch this. The things of this earth will what? Grow strangely dim and will what? Lose their value. Yes, the banks will collapse. Your health will fail. Yes, kingdoms rise and kingdoms fail. Yes, dons come and they go. Because if only in this life we have hope. Paul said, we are of all the people what? Most what? Miserable. But I'm happy to tell you that my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and his what? I dare not trust the sweetest frame, but only live in Jesus' name. So if tomorrow there is no NCB and Christ the solid rock, I stand. If tomorrow there is no Scotiabank and Christ the solid rock, I stand. If tomorrow there is no more government to rule in Jamaica and Christ the solid rock, I stand. If tomorrow I am diagnosed with cancer and Christ the solid rock, I stand. If tomorrow morning I discover that I am jobless, I am homeless, I am friendless, thank God I am not hopeless, because I'm Christ the solid rock. If only in this life we have hope. If you see where this world is headed, then you realize it is headed nowhere. It is headed nowhere. There are many of us in our youthful days were excited in getting a visa to go to the United States. Not much person want to go there anymore. Well, at least that's what I think. That's what I think. Before COVID, a pound of sliced fish was $350. Today, it is over $1,000. And they said Jamaican national dish is what? Ackee and what? You can hardly find the ackee, and you can't buy the salt fish. But Jesus said, let not your heart be what? If he believed in God, he believed also in me. Talk to me, somebody. In my Father's house or what? If it were not so, I go to what? And if I go, I will what? We have the good news that he went to Calvary, don't we? We have the good news that they hung him high. They stretched him wide. He bowed his head, and for us he died. But the song said, that's not how the story ended. 3 days later, he rose again. And because he lived, there is a better tomorrow. Because he lived, all fears are gone. Because he lived, you and I have another chance of making it right with Jesus. Because he lived, you will walk through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil. Because Jesus lived, your future is bright. Your tomorrow can be brighter than your today. Am I talking to anybody? Not because there's a Donald Trump, not because there's a Hunter Holness, not because you have a skillful advisor or a good banker, but because we have a Jesus. Talk to me, somebody. Because we have a mighty conqueror, because we have a great redeemer, because we have a faithful Savior. One we start with the feelings of our infirmity. And if you will allow him, he will transform you. If you will allow him, he will rescue you. If you will allow him, he will make something beautiful out of you. Won't somebody say amen? If you allow him, he will turn your midnight into midday. If you will allow him, he will roll the burdens away. If you allow him, he will do so much in you that you will The Christian hope is not in what you have in the bank. It's not in that piece of paper you get from the university. The Christian hope is not in how much girls you have in your car. You may have that. That may allow you to feel good. But there comes a time like Solomon. In Ecclesiastes chapter 2, Solomon said, I have vineyard, I have pool, I have male servant, I have female servants, I have male servants. He said, I got me singers. I said to one, go, and they go. I said to another, sit, and the person sit. I have the power to command and everybody move. But Solomon says, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. Can I talk with you and then I sit down? Can I talk with you? And then I sit down. The job will fail. Beauty will fade. Hello? Gentlemen, doesn't matter how handsome you look. When you get out of that freezer, you don't look that handsome anymore. Am I talking with you? The money will depart from your pocket. And when the money departs your pocket, your friends will depart too. Am I talking with you? Your health will fail while the blood is running warm in your vein. Seek ye the Lord while he may be what? Call ye upon him while he's near. The Bible says, let the wicked walk, and the righteous man is what? Too many of us only come to church when we're hot. When we're hot. When we're hot. And when we become dispatched. We come for the Christian. We return for the wedding. And sadly, the next time we return, somebody carry us. And in a state that we don't even know that we are here. I'm not one to give any falsehood. The way you live and the way you die, that's the way you will get up and judgment morning. When you go in the grave, there is no repentance. Repentance follows conversion. Conversion can only happen when the Spirit of God talks with you. Am I with you today, church? This might not be what we want to hear, but this is what the Lord places in my heart. Because I see too many of our young people going down in Christless grave. I got up too early some morning to go to work. And before the shop starts selling sugar, salt, and flour, they run down in the bar. I see too much of the young men wasting their life on the street corners. And the sad reality is, they will become baby fathers. And when they become baby fathers, if their profession is to manage the banking side, where will the substance come from to take care of the children? We need a change in purpose. We need a change in direction. We need a change in ambition. We need a wake-up call. We need a reality check. We need it. As I close, an Hindu said to a Christian, tell me, sir, what's the major difference between my God and your God? And somehow the Christian was dumbstruck, could not say a word. But then the Hindu said to him, you know the major difference between my God and your God? He said to him, as Hindus, we carry our gods. We design our gods. We determine their location. But as Christians, your God carries you. Amen. 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 You can imagine in a world like this, you're the one to carry God. You are the one to support God. You are the one to give assistance to God. And that is why Isaiah said they have their money, their iron, their gold, cement. They design their gods of hands but touch not, feet but walk not, mouth but speak not, ears but hear not, eyes, Sir Maxwell, but see not. But thank God, the God that we serve. He walks with you, don't it? He talks with you. He walks with you across the valley of shadows of death. He tells you no weapon that what form against you shall what. And even though an house shall rise against you, in this will you be what? He tells you we are the head and we're not the tail. Talk to me. He tells us we are more than what? Conquerors. So even when we don't see the victory, the cross tells a story that if you are connected to Jesus, you cannot be defeated. You don't need a Hawkeye to be victorious. You don't need a JDF or a JCF or SEAL 6 with you. As long as Jesus is walking with you, no weapon that form against you shall prosper. As long as He is with you, you will recognize that you're a citizen of a higher kingdom. Am I with you? If He is with you, you will realize that you are just pilgrims passing through. If He is with you, you will realize you are going somewhere better. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither have it entered into the thought of man the things that have been stored for us. John could only describe it as a city look like a bride adorned for what? Husband. And watch this now. We are so accustomed to pain, death, suffering, and disaster that it seems impossible to live us somewhere where those things won't be reality anymore. But John tells us, and I don't know who you believe, but I believe the word of God. Talking to somebody. If Jesus said it, you don't have to believe it, but that settles it for me. The word of God tells us there shall be no more death. And I say hallelujah. There shall be no more pain. And I say praise the Lord. There shall be no more suffering. And I say thank you Jesus. There shall be no more heartache. And I say glory to the name of Jesus. There shall be no more Morgans of funeral home. No more Perry's of funeral home. No more Duff. No more Menorahs. No more funeral tribute. No more humanity, Sir Maxwell. No more funeral train. No more son to burn us as it is. No more high price. No more hospital. No more liars. No more murderers. No more acceptance, we will be in a land where we will never grow old. No reed and hammer match endure. And that is why I am sorry for some of you. Let me tell you what. I'm sorry for some of you when you come to church and you walk with your allergy pill. You don't get it, right? You walk with your allergy pill when you come to church. But when you go to the supermarket, you walk with your excitement pill. When you go to withdraw the money from the bank, you walk with your excitement pill. When you go on the date with your lover, you walk with your excitement pill. And when you go to the stadium to watch cricket or your favorite sport, you walk with the pill that makes you excited. But when you come into the house of God, you walk with the allergy pill because you're allergic to hallelujah. You're allergic to amen. I know. I've been around for a very long time. And I know there are some of us are allergic to amen and we're allergic to hallelujah. But I'm going to close here with this final word. If you are allergic to amen and if you're allergic to hallelujah, you will not make it into the kingdom of God. Am I talking with you? Because you wait until a loudmouth preacher like me get there. You wait until some people looking at me who have walked through the valley of the shadow of death and seen God work for them. God have pushed back the enemy. God has stopped the demons. God has shut some people out. God gave them the promotion in the job. God gave their children success in their examination. God protected their husbands and their wives. You wait until they get into heaven and they say Jesus face to face, and they lay their crown at the feet of Jesus and start to shout, worthy, 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 worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Wait until we get there and discover that finally we are at home with Jesus. Finally we are rescued. Finally we are delivered. Finally we have no more suffering or pain to go through. Wait until we get there and start to sing, redeem. How I love to proclaim it. Redeem by the blood of the Lamb. Redeem through his infinite mercy. Hallelujah, hallelujah. His child and forever.
Amen. Amen. Church, there is this myth that says church boring. Much down that line. You know why persons will say that? Because the carnal mind cannot understand the things of God. Spiritual things are spiritually discerned. The carnal mind can't understand that. But when we come to praise God, it's sweet. Come on, church. If Satan knew the Buddha would come from his back, he wouldn't go back. It is like us permissive going over. If Satan knows that this person would have been preached today, he would have been there. Can you want some people to hear it? But God allows some things to happen so that some of us can hear what he has to say to us. Take heed. As a church, I am privileged, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, to remind us that we have this hope that burns within our heart. Hope in the coming of the Lord. We have this faith that Christ alone imparts, faith in the promise of his word. We believe that the time is near when the nations far and near shall arise and shout and sing, hallelujah! Christ You cannot about two. You only have to do what needs to be done. Praise God. Thank you, Evangelist. Thank you. Finally, and it was deliberate. Because if you look at the program, you see eulogy before sermon. But I wanted the sermon before eulogy. Because the sermon is primary, eulogy is secondary. So we sit on the eulogy. Ellis. Call in your phone. Ellis. Come, Ellis. How are you? Oh, wonderful. Yes, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How are you all doing despite the circumstances? God is good all the time. Thank you. Now, the eulogy of Lambert Ellis. On a quiet Wednesday evening, March 3, 1948, Alfonso and Francella welcomed a bouncing baby boy into the world. A child who would grow to leave a lasting mark on everyone who knew. He was the firstborn of 9 siblings, 4 girls and 5 boys. They named him Lambert, a name that speaks of land and territory, and he truly lived up to it. On a piece of land that belongs to his grandmother, we call her Nana, all of us, he began rearing goats, planting not just seeds in the soil, but the roots of responsibility, hard work, and legacy. At the age of 16, D. Lambert, we call him D, graduated from Point Hill All-Age School, sold his goats, and used the money to purchase his first set of tools. With determination in his heart, he moved to Linstead, St. Catherine, to live with his aunt Phil and learned the trade of carpentry. He embraced the craft, enjoying the process of shaping raw woods into beautiful furniture with his own hands. While he was growing in skills and passion, he received the heartbreaking news that his mother had passed. Without hesitation, he returned to the country to stand beside his siblings, becoming the rock they could lean on during one of the most difficult seasons of their lives. In time, he passed the knowledge of carpentry onto his brothers, though not all choose to continue in the trade. Calvin persuaded, scaffolding, Gibbs became a mason. Lloyd and Devon, however, fell in love with carpentry. They became highly skilled and made it their daily livelihood, carrying forward the foundation he helped lay for them. Lambert/B was always easy on the eyes, and as such, at the age of 19, he met and fell in love with who? No, Claudia Strode, otherwise known as Strode, who predeceased the girl who will forever change his life. She was the first girl that we know of, because we are sure that there were others before, but this one took his breath away. Soon after, Chun gave him his first child, Ainsley, after which Sandrine, who would predecease him,
You know that? He was sick or wiser than any other. So he met another girl, beautiful girl named Cherry. And he told Cherry he was what? Single. And that he was living with his aunt. However, they become more than friends. And as a result of that, William was born. And do you know that Cherry got pregnant the same year? Yes, seriously. Yes, as a little boy. And Maxine and William, they are 3 weeks apart. Yes, 3 weeks. Cherry, however, found out that he was not being faithful and ended the relationship. But that did not stop me from fathering William, as he was the splitting image, the splitting image of his father. Soon after the and children got married, they were blessed with 2 more children, Omar and Gregory. He also passed on the skills to his sons. William and Gregory became exceptionally skilled, true craftsmen. He often boasts that one of his greatest joy as a father was watching his boys in action. He was especially proud of William, who grew up into a top-notch craftsman in his work. Omar learned the trade as well, but eventually decided his hands were for softer things. Though, thanks to his dad, he could always put those skills to use when needed. He loved his alcohol. We all know that, right? And his craving cigarettes. But he also loved his turn comedy, as you hear before, and his TV. His children usually tease him by letting him know that it's the only food he could cook. He was also a very giving man. If you don't believe, you can ask some of the young ladies here. And he says, need I to say, he was a loving and generous man, especially when it comes to children. He spoiled them, perhaps more than he should have, but most of all, he spoiled his daughter, Maxine. Somehow, when he said no to the other children, it often turned yes for Maxine. Ainsley quickly figured this out, and would you believe, he always asked Maxine to go to that league to get what he wants, because that won't save him. He would give them money to buy ice cream on Sundays and on Friday nights to buy whatever they want. He was known for his neat and stylish appearance, his warm charm, and his steadfast commitment he provided for his family. He had a way with words, and the ladies knew it. There were times when one woman would pay to build a dresser, another would see and want the same one. And before long, several had put down a deposit. When they eventually realized what had happened, they would sweep off them all. That was just who he was. Persuasive, smooth, and impossible to stay married with. In 2005, we entered the Watermount with their granddaughter, Chantal, whom they raised from she was about 3 months old. Later, another granddaughter, Anissa, also lived with them. He welcomed them both with open hands, often saying he would rather have his grandchildren at his feet than anywhere else. He loved His love for them was unconditional. Because of that love, he would travel to Ocho for work, even on days when there was none, knowing that his brother Lloyd would still pay him, even if he didn't lift a single piece of wood. That was who he was, who would go to the extra mile just to care for his family. After moving from Spanish down to Baltimore, he seems to come alive because he was near his family. He was also easy to love. And as such, when he became ill, Lorraine, also known as Ritty, took responsibility for overseeing his care, making sure he was always well cared for. She did this with a sincere and loving heart, and he loved and respected her as one of his own. It was truly a joy to watch Gregory and Ruthie care for him with such patience and love. They would gently prompt him to speak on FaceTime, and in those moments, you could see spirit responding. Gregory softly rubbed his head and reassuringly saying, "I'm here, Daddy, I'm right here." Above all, he was a family man, father, a brother, a mentor, a provider. He taught by example, loved deeply, and lived fully. Though our hearts ache with his absence, we are grateful for the years we had, the lesson taught, and the laughter brought into our life. Today, we don't just mourn, we celebrate. We celebrate him. His kind did more than friendship. They did a family. His words shaped more than conversation. They shaped lives. And his love will continue to live on through all of us. He lives to cherish his loving memories for sons, Ellis and Ellis, known as William, Omar Ellis, and Gregory Ellis. One daughter, Maxine Ellis McCree, his beloved son-in-law, Courtney McCree, and his beloved daughter-in-laws, Carmen Ellis and Katie Ellis. 18 cherished grandchildren, 8 precious great-grandchildren. His dearest niece, Ritty, 3 brothers, Calvin, Lloyd, Devon. 4 sisters, Mavis, Hope, Patsy, and Jennifer, along with a host of nieces, nephews, extended family members, and many treasured friends. Though he has departed this earthly life, his love, strength, and legacy will forever live in our hearts. The hearts of those who knew him. Daddy Ainsley will miss hearing you call the first scene. Maxine will miss you calling her your princess or my pumpkin. William will miss hearing you calling blood. Omar will miss calling him boy. And Gregory will miss you calling him chunwash. And your nieces will miss you calling them pookie. We miss you, Daddy. We miss you, Daddy Bird. We miss you, Dad. We miss you, Bird. We miss you, Bobby. We will miss you, Mr. Ellis. Rest in peace. Walk good. And tell them another one how they feel.
Since the can't tell me, I'm going to tell you how old is it. He can't talk again. So, we are telling you, holy. You know, he was a busy man. Busy in his trade and busy otherwise. Showing the opposite sex, eh? Busy associate. That was the one I mean, and that was sly look. You look at him face, about it was subtle, what you call it, smile. Him not laugh, but him have this little pleasant look. That was the. Anyway, if you are a family member, you can sit. All others, well-wishers and friends, kindly stand. All right. Can we come together, please? We are going to pray, and I'm asking that we be reverent as we talk with the Lord. And I'm still waiting on those who are talking. We are going to pray. Can we be quiet, please, as we pray? Let us pray. Sovereign Lord, in your love and mercy, you brought us here. A loved one has passed on the bottom to those who are alive as family members. And we give you thanks that they are alive, that they have heard the words of encouragement and of comfort, and that you have given them the opportunity to make the intelligent decision to accept you as Lord and Savior before it is too late. They are mourning, and so, sovereign Lord, I place them in your hands. I ask, Holy God, that will comfort them, whisper sweet peace to them, and give them the calm assurance, knowing that you will never leave them, neither will you forsake them. When the friends and well-wishers are gone and they are left alone, when they will go through the nights remembering their loved one, I pray, Lord, that you will comfort them. I pray, Lord, that you will let them to turn their eyes heavenward, look into Jesus, who is the author and the finisher of their faith. For all of us as well-wishers and friends, we pray, Lord, that you will also take us in your warm embrace. Keep us faithful and committed to you, so that when time and there is a day that you shall come, we all will be privileged, if we are faithful and remain faithful, to hear the blessed well done from your lips. We ask all these mercies with the forgiveness of our sins, through the worthy name of Christ. Amen. And we are going to take the recessional hymn, so family members, you can now stand, and we go to the back. Everybody please stand. And at the singing of the first stanza, don't you move a muscle. At the singing of the first stanza, the refrain, the platform party will lead first, the pallbearers will follow behind, and the immediate family members will follow behind. On the place lift, on the way to the place of interment, the hearse will drive in front. Pastor, whoever is will drive behind, maybe that is me, and the immediate family members will follow behind. No bumping, no boring, no racing. Because you're going to reach before me, so you still have to wait. So my class will look behind each other. Alright? So when the trumpet of the Lord shall sound, and there shall be no more. Let's go.
When the trumpet of the Lord shall sound, and there shall be no more. And the morning breaks eternal bright and fair. When the chosen ones shall gather to their home beyond the shore, and the rolling skull of yonder I'll be there. When Come there, come there. Yes, ma'am. many things. Don't give up. No, my friend, don't give up. Hallelujah, I'm not giving up. People, I'm not giving up. Life gets harder, life gets tougher. Every day, I'm in home, the body so long. But in Jesus, will keep me strong. I'm not giving up. No way, I'm not giving up. Hallelujah.
Touch it.
I lost my job.